So back in March, I did a video where I ranked all 5 volumes of RWBY from worst to best, and now it's time to look at the original standard bearer of Rooster Teeth Animations, Red vs. Blue. Now, the show has already been going on for 15 seasons, and I watched the 16th season on Sunday, and let me tell you, this season is in for a bumpy ride. And now, today, I am ranking all 15 seasons of Red vs. Blue from worst to best. At number 15, it's season 2, which would be would start at the Doc and O'Malley partnership. Also, when Sarge started the scattered storyline for the next season. Like I said, it does in my last video when I ranked Volume 2 in my RWBY video. It needed some time to grow. At number 14, it's season 9, which introduced us to Project Freelancer, and also have a very terrible animation of the show. Also, it would even though it's okay to have 2 stories at the same time in a show, this was very confusing for me. At number 13, it's season 4. Now, this would introduce us to when Tucker had a baby alien. We find out he was impregnated by an alien, and he would give birth to a Junior. That's how Junior was introduced into the series. And the season would also end with Donut getting crushed. Number 12, it's season 6. Now, this introduces us to this is when Agent Washington was introduced into the series. We found out that Church was an AI. He was turned into Epsilon and the Alpha, and this will also be home to the infamous "That was the worst throw ever of all time. Not my fault. Someone put a ball in my way" line, which I still find funny to this day. Number 11, it's season 8. This had an amazing fight sequence with Tex versus Tucker and the Reds. It was kind of heartbreaking for when Maine and Washington killed Tex at the end of the season, which would lead to Washington taking over being the leader of the Reds. The Blues. So yeah, there's that. Number 10, it's season 5. This gets to the number 10 spot because we were introduced to Griff's sister, and where Tex would vanish. When Tex would vanish from the Blood Gulch Chronicles, which was season 1 to season 5, and thus led to the end of the Blood Gulch Chronicles. So there's that. And number 9, it's season 11. Season 11 saw how Washington and the Blues and the Reds would fare in the canyon. We were introduced to Freckles, and a funny moment when Donut answered the rescue call, came to rescue the guys, and then told the ship to leave. So there is that. At number 8, it's season 7. Season 7 for when Church turned into a cube. I forgot who it was. I think it was Sarge, Donut, and Lopez trapped in. No wait, it was Simmons, Donut, and Lopez trapped in the. No wait. Oh wait. It was Simmons, Doc, and Lopez trapped in the other base. I forgot what it was called. Which we were introduced to CT, which later understand that he actually stole the helmet from Agent Connecticut later in the series. It was that. Number 7, it's season 3. This started the storyline where everybody was scattered, and that moment at the Sidewinder where it would start the new animation, the better animation for the show, and also that funny moment with Sarge and Caboose in the canyon, and the reds and blues look alike, like when they're shooting each other. That was funny. Number 6, it's season 13. Season 13 saw Locust turning on Felix, and I can't believe the name one of the AIs Santa. That was Caboose's idea. Yeah. Let's also start when the director's assistant from Project Freelancer, he would take over chorus. Well, actually, the counselor of chorus was still there, but we'd also see Church disappear from the series in this season. At number 5, it's season 15. Season 15, which recently happened, saw Temple and the Blues and Reds, not the Reds and Blues, the Blues and Reds, which would start the Shizno Paradox. So originally, the Red and Blues were accused of murder, which was actually the Blues and Reds actually committing the murders, which framed them. Dylan and her reporter, I forgot what his name was. She would team up with the Reds and Blues to finish them, and yeah, the season was pretty good. Number 4 is the first season. Now, this is at number 4 because even though we were still introduced to it, it was really entertaining. The characters are really entertaining. The story of the Red versus Blues kind of fizzled out after Church died. And Caboose had the O'Malley AI put into him after Tex got blown up, which I wanna talk about. Why did Caboose start calling himself O'Malley before Tex got blown up? Because the O'Malley AI fragment was in Tex before they blew up the tank with her in there. So why did Caboose start calling himself O'Malley before Tex got blown up? So there's that little piece of it. Number 3, it's season 14. A random series this was, had multiple stories, multiple segments, and I feel like it was really entertaining because I like random stuff like that, where something might not make sense, but can be also entertaining. I like that stuff. Number 2 is season 12. Now, Caboose, Griff, Simmons, and Tucker were turned into sergeants, which would lead. They would the Feds. No, they would lead the Republic. Kimball was the leader of the Republic. Doyle was the leader of the Feds. This would also begin the partnership between Felix and Locust. Church coming back, them reuniting with Washington, Donut, Lopez, and Sarge. And it was nice to see Tucker being the hero of the season, because if you really look at the series, he's not really that. He's really not that. Like, he's not the image of the hero. He's built to be a secondary character. So it was kind of weird seeing him the hero of this. And at number 1 is season 10. Now this would lead to the true story of Project Freelancer, which would also Carolina getting revenge on Tex. That awesome fight scene at the end with the 100 Texas versus Carolina and Church for the Reds and Blues to come help them, which was really entertaining. Which you'll also find out that Carolina was the director's daughter, the director being Leonard Church, which is also Church's real name, and Tex being his wife, which would explain the Church and Tex relationship in the series. Which means that Carolina is Tex's daughter. Remember that one part in the series when Tex and Carolina, when we're in Project Freelancer, Tex and Carolina were about to go at it, the director came in and said, "No, Allison." That's because he didn't want his daughter and his wife battling it out. So I thought that was pretty entertaining. Well, that was every season of Red vs. Blue ranked from worst to best. Let me know what you guys thought. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.